Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. My name is Naveed, and today I'm going to give you the lecture on market management topic, crafting the brand positioning. Before this topic, we have already done that what is brand equity, and you people have done the different elements of brand. We have done the different models that explain the attributes of the brand. Now it's time that we are on the very important point where we have to make a place of the brand in the mind of the customers. So that is how we are going to do this topic and see what learning objectives are we going to learn from this topic. The learning objectives of this topic are: how can a firm develop and establish an effective positioning in the market? How do marketers identify and analyze competition? How are the brands successfully differentiated? And what are the differences in positioning and branding with a small business? Coming to the first part of it, no company can win if its products and services resemble every other product and offering. I think this is something very obvious. If you look the same, I think nobody will find any expression of excitement in them. Well, this is an era where the capitalism has got a lot to do with everything, in which in this entirely dynamic changing environment of the marketing, many businesses are being started and many competitors are coming in the market with the similar products and the similar ideas. One thing that makes them different from another is their capability and is their ability to look and have a different impact in the minds of the customer through any element of their branding. It may be their core competency with respect to its quality, or with respect to its aesthetics, or with respect to anything that they think they are different than their competitors. So as part of the strategic brand management process, each offering must represent the right kinds of things in the mind of the target market. Before I go ahead, I would like to revise few things that we have done previously. One thing that we need to keep in the mind is the concept of value proposition. A value proposition is a set of those values that you try to promise from your customer. And the promise that you make with your customer needs to be fulfilled. And these promises need to be based upon what company has to offer. And this thing company needs to know itself that what it can offer to the best of its capacity. So creating a compelling, well-differentiated brand positioning requires a keen understanding of consumer needs and wants, company capabilities, and competitive actions. While talking on these three, needs and wants, we need to identify as it is the first step of marketing process. While going on to the other, the company capability is something that company need to internalize and think what they are capable of, and then what are the competition offering to the target market. After analyzing these three, I think we can be on the point that what we can give the best to the customer. The next point is developing and establishing a brand positioning. We need to develop and then establish. How do we develop? By again understanding needs, wants and demands, the capability of the company itself, and the competitive forces that what they are offering. On the basis of this data, we would be able to develop and then establish our brand positioning, like what the competitor is offering and what we can offer to the best of our capacity. So all marketing strategies are built on segmentation, targeting and positioning. Marketing management's heart is STP, where we have to segment the market, we have to divide the market, we have to target the market, we have to find out those set of customers who are suitable to use our product in terms of monetary terms also, in terms of their values also. And then we need to communicate our values so that the mindset of the customers understand what we have to deliver to them and what promise we have made, we are delivering the same to them. A company discovers different needs and groups in the marketplace, targets those it can satisfy in a superior way. As I said, you always try to satisfy what you can do at your best, and then positions its offering so that the target market recognizes the company's distinctive offerings and images. Now see formally what positioning is. Positioning is the act of designing a company's offering and image to occupy a distinctive place in the minds of the target market. When I talk about distinctive, it means a personality of a brand. A personality of the product needs to be different than the competitor. Only then you're going to develop the entire identity of your own as a product. So the goal is to locate the brand in the minds of the consumers to maximize the potential benefits to the firm. A good brand positioning means if you make a distinct place in the mind of the customer, it helps guide marketing strategy by clarifying the brand's essence. What is marketing strategy? It encapsulates the product and its features in pricing and what it actually has to give and where it should be located. We need to identify the goals it helps the consumer achieve and showing how it does so in a unique way. We need to identify those aspects that consumers would achieve, because see, in this world of lots of competition, people are looking for the best of the benefits. They want their benefits to be accomplished by any means. So we need to actually cater the benefits of the consumers in the best possible unique way that attracts their attention and attracts them to buy your product. Everyone in the organization should or need to understand the brand positioning and use it as a context for making decisions. A good positioning has a foot in the present and a foot in the future. Foot in the present, what we call a present. Present is a fleeting time which is passing on, and future is something that we are having an eye on. It needs to be somewhat aspirational so the brand has room to grow and improve. It goes back to the ideology of the vision and mission of the corporate, and then the SBU, and then the product. I think we all can recall the point where we studied about the strategic planning part. Over here, the strategic planning helps the product to become a brand, because after doing BCG and after doing product market expansion grid, we can actually find out that which brand has a unique impact in the mind of the customer and what we need to do further. Positioning on the basis of the current state of the market is not forward-looking enough. Where we are standing is not enough. Definitely, the long-term approach has to see far along where we are standing today. So at the same time, the positioning cannot be so removed from reality that it is essentially unobtainable. The real trick in positioning is to strike just the right balance, what the brand is and what it could be. What the brand is something that you have identified, and what it could be is something that you're going to ask your customer that what they really want in their brand to look like, because you need to project the product as the product of the customer and not the product as for your own self as an organization. But because our ideology as a marketer is to sell the product to the customer and to make the product for the customer. So where it could be would be told by the customer. The result of positioning is successful creation of customer focused value proposition. Value proposition, again I would tell you, it's the promise that we make from the customer that what we can deliver to them. And if it is customer focused, that is that value proposition that customer really wants, need or a want or the benefit to them. So a cogent reason why the target market should buy the product is this. Positioning requires that marketers define and communicate similarities and differences between their brands and its competitors. It is a human nature. We always look for the similarities and we always look for the differences between and among different products and different brands. So specifically, deciding on a positioning requires, number one, determining a frame of reference by identifying the target market and relevant competition. Frame of reference, in the entire frame of reference, those products are in the frame of reference which are providing the same thing as you are providing. So they are in reference to you. And by identifying the target market and relevant competition, identifying the optimal points of parity. Points of parity are the similarities, and point of differences are something where you are different or your competitor is different than your product. Brand associations given the frame of reference, creating a brand mantra to summarize the positioning and essence of the brand. Now we will determine a competitive frame of reference. The competitive frame of reference defines which other brands brand competes with, and therefore which brand should be the focus of competitive analysis. Every competitor is not your competitor. You need to find out who is that competitor who relates to you, who is exactly giving or somehow very closely giving the same product as you are giving. So decisions about the competitive frame of reference are closely linked to the target market decisions. Deciding to target a certain type of consumer can define the nature of a competition, in which you can signify that which competitor is targeting your target market comes in your frame of reference. Certain firms have decided to target that segment in the past or plan to do so in the future, or because consumers in that segment may already look to certain products or brands in their purchase decisions. Our first part is to identify the competitors and then analyze the competitors, see what it has to say. While identifying competitors, a good starting point in defining the competitive frame of reference for brand positioning is to determine a category membership. You need to see that your competitor should be of your category. And another way, a category membership is the products or set of products with which a brand competes and which functions as a close substitutes. Someone who can substitute you as a brand and someone who can compete with you. So it would seem a simple task for a company to identify its competitors. For example, PepsiCo knows Coca-Cola's Dasani is a major bottled water competitor for its Aquafina brand. Aquafina brand relates to Pepsi, whereas Dasani relates to Coca-Cola, and definitely they are the competitors of the same category and they've got the membership of the same category. Citigroup knows Bank of America is a banking competitor. The range of companies' actual and potential competitors, however, can be much broader than the obvious. Things that are obvious might not be the obvious ones. There's much more to see. There's much more is there. For a brand with explicit growth intentions to enter the new markets, a broader or maybe even more aspirational competitive frame may be necessary to reflect possible future competitors. Company is more likely to be hurt by emerging competitors. Of course, over here I would refer you to learn marketing intelligence systems that we have done in the previous lectures. Why company should be hurt? We need to be very much market intelligent in understanding what customers, what competitors, other competitors are actually giving. So a company is more likely to be hurt by emerging competitors or new technologies than by current competitors. Firms should consider the competitive frame adopted by Bertolli. Bertolli basically is a Unilever product of the Italian frozen food. Say what Bertolli has to say. Unilever's Bertolli, a line of frozen Italian food, experienced a steady 10% growth in sales through the recent economic recession. See, in the economic recession, they actually gained 10% of the growth, in part due to its clever positioning as restaurant quality Italian food that you can eat at home. When there was a recession, people had no money, and the way their position was really commendable. Targeting men and women with discerning palates. Discerning palates means who have a very good taste or have a taste which is relevant to the dishes. Bertolli has aggressively innovated with a stream of high quality new dishes to keep target customers interested. You need to make innovations, you need to keep on engaging with the market to find out the new aspects. In its marketing for the brand, Bertolli deliberately chooses to go to the places appropriate for a fine dining brand, but not a frozen food brand. We can examine competition from both an industry and a market point of view. An industry is a group of firms offering a product or a class of products that are close substitutes for one another. Marketers classify industries according to the number of sellers, degree of products, degree of product differentiation, presence or absence of entry, mobility, and exit barriers. We'll see one by one. Marketers classify industries according to the number of sellers. number of sellers are involved, degree of product differentiation. What differentiation are they offering? Presence or absence of the entry, mobility, moving around, and exit barriers. Cost structure, what cost are they incurring, what is the design of their supply chain, degree of vertical integration, how much or to what degree they are vertically integrated, and the degree of their global presence. Using the market approach, we define competitors as companies that satisfy the same customer needs. Marketers must overcome marketing myopia. Marketing myopia is something that you believe that you already know what markets really want. I think in the very first lecture we have gone through this marketing myopia thing, and we all know that marketing myopia is all about something that should not be practiced by the company, and stop defining competition in traditional category and industry terms. Coca-Cola focused on its soft drink business. It missed seeing the market for coffee bars and fresh fruit juices that eventually impinged on its soft drink business. It actually impacted. So you need not to be market myopic. You need to see around what substitutes are available and what can overshadow you. The market concept of competition reveals a broader set of actual and potential competitors than competition defined in just product category terms. It is important to profile companies' direct and indirect competitors by mapping the buyer's step in obtaining and using the product. The indirect customers are somehow giving something like you, but not maybe to your exact target market. But direct competitors are those who are exactly standing on the same lines where you are standing. So this type of analysis highlights both the opportunities and the challenges a company faces. You see, we need to analyze the competitors. A SWOT analysis includes a competitive analysis. We all have done the SWOT analysis while we were doing the product part of SBUs. A company needs to gather information about each competitor's real and perceived strengths and the weaknesses. Over here in table 10.2, you can see customers' rating of competitors on key success factors. There are 5 factors that they have highlighted. There are 3 competitors on the left hand side: competitor A, competitor B, and competitor C. And the rating is done on the 5 attributes. Number 1, customer awareness, product quality, product availability, technical assistance, and selling staff. Competitor A. Competitor A, and I would be telling you the rating also. E stands for excellent, and G stands for good, and P stands for poor, whereas F stands for fair. Competitor A received E in customer awareness. Competitor A received E, excellent, in product quality. It received poor in product availability. It received poor in technical assistance, and it received good in selling staff. So it can be attacked on its weaknesses, which are 2, which is product availability and technical assistance. Anybody can actually attack on it. The competitor B is good at customer awareness, good at product quality, excellent at product availability, good at technical assistance, and excellent at selling staff. So don't you think the ratio is better, and competitor B is balancing out many things? See what competitor C has to say. They are fair at customer awareness. They cannot be attacked. They cannot attack A and B. Customer C is maybe poor at product quality. They are good at product availability. They are fair at technical assistance, and they are fair at selling staff. Now see what are the analysis. Table 10.2 shows the results of a company survey that asks customers to rate its 3 competitors, A, B, C, on the 5 attributes as I told you. Competitor A turns out to be well known and respected for producing high quality products sold by good sales force, but they are poor at providing product availability and technical assistance. There they can lose the attention of the customer. Whereas competitor B is good across the board and excellent in product availability and sales force. Competitor C rates poor to fare on most attributes. So the result is obvious. The result suggests that in its positioning, the company could attack competitor A on product availability and technical assistance, and competitor C on almost anything, but it should not attack B, which has no glaring weaknesses. As part of this competitive analysis for positioning, the firm should also ascertain the strategies and objectives of its primary competitors. Once a company has identified its main competitors and their strategies, it must ask, what is each competitor seeking in the marketplace? What drives each competitor's behavior? These are very marketing intelligent programs questions. Many factors shape a competitor's objectives, including their size, their history, current management, and financial situation. If the competitor is a division of a larger company, it is important to know whether the parent company is running it for growth or profit or milking it. See what it has to say. If the competitor is a division, we see the corporate has got the division. The division of a larger company, it is important to see that whether the parent company is actually working for it as a growth perspective. You see the BCG metrics. Are they working for its attractiveness, or are they milking it to become something like a star? So we need to focus on the behavior of the competitor, that what actually they are willing to do. Finally, based on all this analysis, marketers must formally define the competitive frame of reference to guide the positioning. In stable markets with little short-term change likely, it may be fairly easy to define 1, 2, or perhaps 3 key competitors. In dynamic categories where competition may exist or arise in a variety of different forms, multiple frame of references may arise. Then there's an identifying optimal points of differences and point of parities. Once marketers have fixed the competitive frame of reference for positioning, they know exactly what is their frame of reference, who is in the, they know 1, 2, 3 category of their competitors by defining their customer target market and the nature of the competition. They can define the appropriate points of differences and point of parities from their competitors, where they are similar to their competitors and where they are different from their competitors. See what are point of differences. We call them PODs as well. These are the qualities or the attributes or benefits that consumers strongly associate with a brand, positively evaluated, and believe that they could not find to the same extent with the competitive brand. People are too loyal with it. Associations that make up point of differences may be based on virtually any type of attribute or benefit. Strong brands may have multiple points of differences. Some examples are Apple: design, ease of use, and irreverent attitude. Nike, its performance, its innovative technology, and its winning attitude. And Southwest Airlines, value, reliability, and fun personality. And you see all the attributes make these brands different than their competitors, and people find them something which they like to relate themselves with. Creating strong, favorable, and unique association is a real challenge, but the essential one for competitive brand positioning. There are 3 criteria that determine whether a brand association can truly function as a point of difference. Number 1, desirability of the brand, deliverability of the brand, and differentiability of the brand. Some key considerations are as follow. What we call desirability to the consumer. Consumers must see the brand association as personally relevant to them. You always desire something which you really want and which you really actually, personally you want to be the part of something. Consumers must also be given a compelling reason to believe and understand rationale for why the brand can deliver the desired benefit. Mountain Dew may argue that it is more energizing than other soft drinks and support this claim by noting that it has a higher level of caffeine. Chanel 5 is a very big name of the perfume brand. It may claim to be quintessentially elegant French perfume and support this claim by noting the long association between Chanel and haute couture. Substantiators can also come in the form of patented branded ingredients such as Nivea Wrinkle Control Cream with Q10 coenzymers, herbal essences, hair conditioner with Havafena. So these are all the desirability to the brand and how they create the desirability to the consumer. Deliverable by the company. The company must have the internal resources and commitment feasibly and profitably create and maintain the brand association in the minds of the consumer. The product design and marketing offering must support the desired association, and the desired association is always grasped by understanding the kind of customer you are targeting. Does communicating the desired association require real changes to the product itself, or just perceptual shifts in the way the consumer thinks of the product or a brand? Then there's a creating the latter is typically easier. General Motors has had to work to overcome public perceptions that Cadillac is not a youthful modern brand, and has done so through bold designs and contemporary images. The ideal brand association is preemptive, something that you do before after analyzing your competitor's move, and defensible, that you can defend too. You should have a capability to defend it also, and difficult to attack. It is generally easier for market leaders such as ADM, Visa and SAP to sustain their positioning based as it is on demonstrable product and service performance than it is for market leaders such as Fendi, Prada and Hermes, whose positioning is based on fashion and is thus subject to the whims of a more fickle market which is changing its attitude with every moment. Then differentiating from the competitors. Finally, consumers must see the brand association as distinctive and superior to relevant competitors. Splenda Sugar substitute overtook Equal and Sweet and Low to become the leader in its category in 2003 by differentiating itself on its authenticity as a product derived from sugar without any of the associated drawbacks. After all these associations, any attribute or benefit associated with a product or a service can function as a point of difference from a brand as long as it is sufficiently desirable, deliverable and differentiating. The brand must demonstrate clear superiority on an attribute or benefit for it to function as a true point of difference than its competitors, so that the customers should actually think upon it. Consumers must be convinced, for example, that Louis Vuitton has the most stylish handbags, Energizers is the long-lasting battery, and Fidelity Investments offers the best financial advice and planning, and this happens when you fulfill your value proposition and you try to promise what you can deliver to the customer. Then comes the point of parity. Points of parity, on the other hand, are the attributes or benefits associations that are not necessarily unique to the brand. These kind of abilities or attributes does exist in their competitors too. So these types of associations comes in two basic forms: category and competitive. Category points of parity are the attributes or benefits that consumers view as essential to a legitimate and credible offering within a certain product or a service category. They have to be there, being the part of the category. In other words, they present necessary but not sufficient conditions for brand choice. Consumers might not consider a travel agency truly a travel agency unless it is able to make air and hotel reservations, provide advice about leisure packages and offer various ticket payments and delivery options. These are the core things which are related to the category of the product. Category points of parity may change over time due to the technological advances, legal developments or consumer trends. But to use a golfing analogy, they are the greens, fees necessary to play the marketing game. They are competitive points of parity then. They are the associations which are designed to overcome perceived weaknesses of the brand. A competitive point of parity may be required to either negate competitors' perceived point of differences and negate a perceived vulnerability of the brand as a result of its own point of difference. Negate competitors means that competitive points of parity, that you negate the competitors as a perceived point of differences, and you negate a perceived vulnerability that you can have from the points of differences from your competitor. One good way to uncover key competitive points of parity is to role play competitors' positioning and infer their intended points of differences. Competitors' POD will in turn suggest the brand's POPs. Consumer research into the trade-offs consumers make in their purchasing decision can be also informative. Regardless of the source of perceived weaknesses, if in the eyes of consumers, a brand can break even in those areas where it appears to be at a disadvantage and achieve advantages in other areas, the brand should be in a strong and perhaps unbeatable competitive position in its category of membership. This is all for today's lecture. I would like to give you some key takeaways. This lecture encapsulated that how we need to position our brand into the mind of the customer, because this is the main thing where you reside in the mind of the customer. We have gone through different aspects of identifying competitors. How can we identify competitors who are direct and indirect competitors? How can we actually identify how can we analyze the competitors? And after that, we have done the points of parities and the point of differences that exist among or between I and you as a firm and our competitors. So this is all for today. I hope that you have understood the lecture, and till now, for now, I would be taking sign off. I will be signing off. Thank you very much, and Allah Hafiz.